Welcome, bienvenidos, benvindu, to the Soccermetrics Copa Libertadores show, part of the SDH network, the only English language show devoted to South America's premier club competition. I'm your host, Howard Hamilton, the founder of Soccermetrics. It's time for the fifth week of the Libertadores group phase. It's the end of match day 5. No fewer than 9 teams have confirmed their place in the Copa Libertadores knockout stages, and a further 9 have confirmed that they won't be there. The other 14 teams still have a chance, which sets up a dramatic climax to the group stage next week. In this episode, I'll recap the matches that made up match day 5. But before this, there's important news about one match in match day 4 that has implications for an entire group. You know about that Independiente Medellin versus Flamengo match that was abandoned due to crowd trouble. There were flares, smoke bombs, bonfires in the stands of Estadio Antasio Girardot, and there was a crowd invasion that took place, and the match was stopped in 5 minutes. It was about an hour after the match was stopped that CONMEBOL announced that the match would be abandoned. Last Thursday, May 21st, CONMEBOL released the details of their punishment. From a sporting perspective, the match was given as a 3-0 administrative win to Flamengo. So Flamengo will get 3 points, and they'll also be credited with 3 goals scored. As for Independiente Medellin, they are going to be slapped with stadium closures and significant fines. The stadium closures include 5 home matches in CONMEBOL competitions that will be conducted behind closed doors, and their next 2 away matches will be without traveling fans. So the remaining 2 away matches in the Copa Libertadores. And finally, they will be given a $116,000 fine for the events that occurred. So those are the punishments resulting from the incidents surrounding Independiente Medellin versus Flamengo. I think everyone knew that this was coming. I think we just were waiting for confirmation. Estudiantes wanted confirmation before their match actually took place. But it really doesn't make that much of a difference. It does mean that Flamengo are in the knockout stage before they even started playing their match versus Estudiantes. And now let's get into the classified results. In Group A, Flamengo 1, Estudiantes 0. Cusco 2, Independiente Medellin 3. Group B, Nacional 0, Universitario 0. Coquimbo Unido 3, Deportes Tolima 0. Group C, Fluminense 2, Bolivar 1. Deportivo La Guaira 2, Independiente Rivadavia 4. Group D, Boca Juniors 1, Cruzeiro 1. Universidad Católica 2, Barcelona 0. Group E, Peñarol 1, Corinthians 1. Santa Fe 2, Platense 1. Group F, Palmeiras 0, Cerro Porteño 1. Junior 3, Sporting Cristal 2. Group G, Liga de Quito 2, Lanús 0. Always Ready 1, Mirasol 2. Group H, Independiente del Valle 4, Libertad 1. And Rosario Central 4, Universidad Central de Venezuela 0. So over these 60 matches, there were 47 goals scored, 30 by the home team, 17 by the away team, resulting in 9 home wins, 3 draws, and 4 away wins. That's it for part 1. In part 2, the featured matches of Matchday 5. Part 2 of the Soccermetrics Copa Libertadores show, part of the SDH network. And now let's get into the featured matches of Matchday 5, starting with the Group A encounter between Flamengo and Estudiantes. Flamengo lined up in a 4-2-3-1 formation with Agustin Rossi in goal, Ayrton Lucas, Leo Pereira, Leo Ortiz, Emerson Royal as the defensive backline, Jorginho and Everton Araujo as defensive midfielders, Bruno Henrique, Jorge Carrascal, Luis Araujo as forward midfielders, and Pedro up front. Estudiantes lined up in a 4-2-3-1. Fernando Muslera in goal, Tomas Palacios, Leandro Gonzalez Perez, Santiago Nunez, Eric Mesa in defense, Alexis Castro, Ezequiel Piovi as defensive midfielders, Brian Aguirre, Mikel Almondrain, Thiago Palacios as forward midfielders, and Guido Carrillo up front. A bit of a correction to something I said in the first segment. This match between Flamengo and Estudiantes took place on Wednesday, one day before CONMEBOL released their verdict on the events surrounding Independiente Medellin versus Flamengo. So Flamengo weren't assured of a knockout stage place at this point, but they were on the precipice. These teams played two closely fought encounters last season in the Libertadores quarterfinals, and this match would be no different. Both teams had chances in the opening minutes. Jorginho's effort was closer, but the first controversial moment occurred just after the half-hour mark when Piovi pushed Bruno Henrique as he ran in on goal, and he fell inside the penalty area. Referee Esteban Ostojic initially gave a penalty, but revised it to a free kick outside the area after consulting VAR. No real chances, though, and the match headed into halftime with no score. The second half was more of the same. Set-piece opportunities were the most that either side conceded. Estudiantes' compact low block was stifling Flamengo's possession play as they ventured into the opposing half. The decisive moment came all at once. Bruno Henrique, playing on the left wing, advanced the ball into the area, but the ball got away from him. Muslera, instead of collecting the ball with his hands, played the ball with his feet. The ball skipped away a few meters, and Pedro, lurking in the area, pounced on it, wheeled around, and fired underneath Muslera and inside the near post. Estudiantes pushed for an equalizer with the entry of Facundo Farias, who was combining well with Thiago Palacios, but truly dangerous chances were lacking. The match probably deserved to end in a draw, but that one error by Muslera was greatly magnified. Flamengo confirmed their place in the knockout stage, while Estudiantes are on the outside looking in. Now let's turn to the Group F match between Palmeiras and Cerro Porteño. Palmeiras lined up in a 4-2-3-1, Carlos Miguel in goal, Artur Gabriel, Murillo, Gustavo Gomez, Agustin Guillay as defenders, Marlon Freitas and Emiliano Martinez as the holding midfielders, John Arias, Andreas Pereira, and Allen as forward midfielders, and Jose Lopez up front. Cerro Porteño lined up in a 4-1-4-1 formation. Alexis Martin Arias in goal, Marcelo Chaparro, Matias Perez, Gustavo Velasquez, Fabricio Dominguez as defenders, Peris da Mata as the holding midfielder, Freddy Nogueira, Mateo Klimovitz, Jorge Morel, Cecilio Dominguez as forward midfielders, and Pablo Vegetti up front. Most observers throughout South America expected Palmeiras to wrap up first place in Group F by dispatching Cerro Porteño with ease. Those expectations were not misplaced. Cerro had not won a Libertadores encounter against Verdão for 8 years. And Palmeiras had not lost a home Libertadores match for 5 years. It would be those statistics that would set the stage for one of the most remarkable Libertadores results, not just for this season, but for several seasons. Palmeiras would start the match on the front foot, dominating possession and dominating the chances on goal. Verdão would attempt 8 shots, of which John Arias and Jose Lopez would combine for 4. The main protagonist in the first half for El Ciclón would be Alexis Martin Arias. He made no fewer than 5 saves in the first half, the most impressive of which was a one-on-one save against John Arias on the half hour. In the second half, Cerro Porteño made more of an attempt to play inside Palmeiras' half, and their first attempt resulted in the goal. After Fabricio Dominguez won the ball at the halfway line following a goal kick, Matias Perez opened play on the right to Dominguez, who hit a precise low cross that met the run of Pablo Vegetti, beating Carlos Miguel to his right. A fine finish to a sensational counterattack. From there, Cerro were more than happy to defend, and Palmeiras went forward with greater urgency. A cross by John Arias hit the top of the crossbar. In 10 minutes from time, he set in another cross that found Lopez, but his free header struck the crossbar full. The best chance at an equalizer came with 3 minutes left, when Palmeiras saw an attempt blocked by Arias and then cleared off the line by Perez. But the offside flag made that entire play moot anyway. The final result ended Palmeiras' invincibility at home in the Copa Libertadores and confirmed Cerro Porteño's place in the last 16. Cerro earned this win through the contributions of their goalkeeper and defensive line and the quick execution and efficiency of one counterattack. Finally, we go to the mountains of Ecuador for the Group G encounter between Liga de Quito and Lanús. Liga de Quito lined up in a 3-1-4-2 formation. Gonzalo Valle in goal, Leonel Quiñones, Ricardo Ade, Gianfranco Ayala in the defensive line, Jesus Pretel as the holding midfielder, Yerlin Quiñones, Gabriel Villamil, Fernando Cornejo, Jose Quintero as forward midfielders, and the forward duo of Daverson and Michael Estrada. Lanús lined up in a 4-2-3-1. Nahuel Lasada in goal, Sasa Marcic, Jose Canale, Carlos Izquierdos, Tomas Guidara in defense, Agustin Cardoso, Felipe Peña Biafore as the 2 holding midfielders, Ramiro Carrera, Marcelino Moreno, Eduardo Salvio in the middle, and Josan Valoy as the lone striker up front. This was a matchup between 2 teams who have struggled to score in this season's group stage, both teams having scored just 5 goals between them. For much of the match, Liga looked like they were the only team more likely to score, but it wasn't clear if they would figure out how. Gabriel Villamil had some shots that went wayward. The majority of Liga's attempts were blocked away. Lanús struggled to create much of anything. Just 2 shot attempts, none of them forcing any action from Gonzalo Valle. The second half was more of the same, though Liga would force a couple of saves from Nahuel Lozada. It was clear that either a penalty or an error was the only route to scoring, and the latter happened with a quarter hour to go. Liga took a corner kick, the ball skipped into the center of the 6-yard area, and the ball took a 90-degree deflection off Felipe Peña Biafore's back leg and into the back of the net. Whether by luck or by lack of fortune, Liga were deservedly in front. There would be no doubt about the quality of the second goal. Starting from the right flank and then worked into the penalty area, 4 Liga players combined with one-touch side-footed passes to set up Fernando Cornejo to finish spectacularly past Lozada. That moment was worth sitting through 90 minutes of uninspiring football. The 2-0 result confirms Liga's place in the round of 16, and leaves Lanús as the first Argentine side eliminated from the competition at the group stage. That's it for part 2. In part 3, the rest of the match day. Part 3 of the Soccermetrics Copa Libertadores show, part of the SDH network. And now let's go through the rest of match day 5, and we start with an absolutely bonkers result in Group A between Cusco and Independiente Medellin. After a Fitruszewski goal gave Independiente Medellin the lead, Choi Garum equalized with 12 minutes to go, and then the fun started. 3 goals in stoppage time. Perlaza gave Independiente Medellin the lead back in the first minute of stoppage time before an Aldair Fuentes equalizer leveled the scoreline for Cusco. And then, on practically the last kick of the game, Alexis Serna found the winner for El Dim, an important away win for them that keeps them alive in Libertadores consideration. In Group B, Nacional and Universitario played out a 0-0 result. This was a match where Universitario were more likely to score. Both teams still have a chance in match day 6. And that's because Coquimbo Unido routed Deportes Tolima 3-0. In the process, overcoming that 3-0 scoreline against them in Colombia. Fernandez, Zavala, and Johansson were the goal scorers for the Chilean side, who clinched a place in the last 16. In Group C, Fluminense defeated Bolivar 2-1 at the Maracanã, a Lucho Acosta opener and a John Kennedy winner. But the most important goal of all was Carlos Melgar's equalizer, because that goal gives Bolivar an aggregate goal advantage on head-to-head results. So if Bolivar match Fluminense's result next week, they, and not Fluminense, are in the round of 16. In Venezuela, Deportivo La Guaira went down 4-2 to Independiente Rivadavia behind an Alex Arce hat-trick. This was Arce's second hat-trick in the Copa Libertadores this season. Independiente Rivadavia confirmed first place in the group. In Group D, Boca Juniors were held to a 1-1 draw by Cruzeiro at the Bombonera, a Merentiel opener and a Fagner equalizer. Garrison was sent off for Cruzeiro, but the match was much less than what Boca needed. Now they need a win versus Universidad Católica and help from Barcelona SC by beating Cruzeiro. Universidad Católica, for their part, defeated Barcelona 2-0 and eliminated them from all CONMEBOL competition in 2026. Now, Universidad Católica need a point away in the Bombonera versus Boca to confirm a place in the last 16 of the Libertadores. In Group E, Peñarol were held to a 1-1 draw by Corinthians in a match in which they really needed a win to keep their faint Libertadores chances alive. After a Maximiliano Oliveira opener, Zakaria Labiad equalized for the away side in the 63rd minute. Santa Fe defeated Platense 2-1 in a really important win for them that keeps their faint hopes for South American play alive. They're already eliminated from further play in Libertadores, but they still have a chance of playing in the Sudamericana. Ivan Scarpetta and Hugo Rodallega scored for the home side. Augusto Lotti pulled one back for Platense a few minutes after Rodallega's goal. In Barranquilla, Junior defeated Sporting Cristal 3-2. Junior racing out to a 3-0 lead before the 40th minute and weathering a Sporting Cristal comeback. Their chances for Sudamericana competition are still alive, but by a flicker. In Group G, Always Ready went down 2-1 to Mirasol, the other sensational debutante in this season's Libertadores. A Fogasa winner with 8 minutes left gave Mirasol all 3 points and put them in the last 16. Always Ready are now eliminated from Libertadores play. In Group H, Independiente del Valle routed Libertad 4-1. 4 different goal scorers for the home side as Libertad confirm their bomb position in the group. 4 different goal scorers for Rosario Central, who defeated Universidad Central de Venezuela 4-0, setting up a decider for the group between Independiente del Valle and Rosario Central next week in Ecuador. So those were all the matches that made up Match Day 5. And here's how the 8 groups stand. In Group A, Flamengo have 13 points. Remember, those 3 points were awarded to them administratively due to the results, or due to the circumstances surrounding the match versus Independiente Medellin. Independiente Medellin are second on 7 points. Estudiantes are third on 6. Cusco bring up the rear on 1 point. In Group B, Coquimbo Unido have 10 points, followed by Tolima on 7. Universitario and Nacional have 5 points, but Universitario have the head-to-head tiebreaker. In Group C, Independiente Rivadavia lead the group on 13 points, behind Bolivar on 5, Fluminense on 5, and Deportivo La Guaira on 3. Bolivar have that head-to-head tiebreaker on aggregate goals. In Group D, Universidad Católica lead the group on 10 points, followed by Cruzeiro on 8, Boca Juniors on 7, and Barcelona Sport Club on 3. In Group E, Corinthians lead the group on 11 points, Platense are in second on 7, Santa Fe have 5 points, Peñarol last in the group on 3. In Group F, Cerro Porteño lead the group on 10 points, Palmeiras have 8, Sporting Cristal have 6 points, Junior bring up the rear on 4. In Group G, Mirassol lead the group on 12 points, followed by Liga de Quito on 9 points, Lanús with 6 points, Always Ready in last place on 3. And finally in Group H, Rosario Central lead the group on 13 points, Independiente del Valle have 10 points, Universidad Central have 6, and Libertad last in the group without a single point. So that means that the following teams have already confirmed their place in the Copa Libertadores knockout stage: Flamengo, Coquimbo Unido, Independiente Rivadavia, Corinthians, Cerro Porteño, Mirassol, Liga de Quito, Rosario Central, and Independiente del Valle. And the following teams have been eliminated from Copa Libertadores contention: Cusco, Nacional, Barcelona, Peñarol, Junior, Libertad, Lanús, Always Ready, and Universidad Central. So the big stories from Match Day 5 were Palmeiras' home defeat to Cerro Porteño, the first time Palmeiras have lost at home in Libertadores for over 5 years, Alex Arces' second hat trick of the competition for Independiente Rivadavia, a big week for the Chilean clubs, especially Coquimbo Unido, overturning that 3-0 result in the reverse fixture versus Deportes Tolima, and 2 teams from pot number 4 confirmed in the last 16. Incredibly, 4 more teams from pot 4 have a real chance to advance to the latter stage of Copa Libertadores. And now you can find X maps, flowcharts, and passing network maps for every Libertadores match on my Soccermetrics X feed. I'm still backfilling preliminary round matches and matches from previous match days. Match data supplied by Data Factory Latin America. Got a comment or question about this podcast or about the Libertadores? Send them to my X handle @Soccermetrics. You can also send questions or comments to @SoccerDownHere or to Jason Longshore at Longshoe. This show is also distributed on YouTube and Facebook, and you can follow the conversation there. Next week is Decision Week, and in that episode, I'll preview the 6th and final match day of the group stage. This has been the Soccermetrics Copa Libertadores show, proudly part of the SDH network. See you later. Hasta luego. E até mais.